My name is Wassim Daghrir. I'm a professor in the University of Sousse. I teach American history, American culture studies. And one of the courses I teach is American exceptionalism, how exceptionalism in the United States, which I believe is indeed a great and exceptional country. A good thing to teach for my American friends now should be, in my opinion, Tunisian exceptionalism. Because we are indeed going through an exceptional time in an exceptional country these days. Because, I mean, the last days and the last months in Tunisia have been really exceptional. History is indeed being made now in Tunisia. We have had a unique revolution, I would say, I mean, in the world, in the history of human beings, of humanity. We have had a revolution which is leaderless, ideology-less, no ideology, no leaders, a revolution conducted by young, educated women and men. That's really exceptional. We have managed to get rid of a dictatorship using very simple slogans, democracy, freedom, and that's really unique. So Tunisia has got the chance now, because the revolution is still going on. It's good that we've come back to normal life. We're back to school, we're back to work, we're back to normal life. But the revolution is still going on. The transition needs some time. But we have the chance to I would say, contradict what our American colleague said a long time ago, talking about the clash of civilizations theory. I'm talking about, of course, Mr. Samuel Huntington, who said somehow that Arabs and Muslims are not fit for democracy. Well, we have the chance now to contradict that. Tunisians and as Arab Muslims are in the way of building a unique, I would say, democracy. And talking about using American terms, in terms of domino theory, Tunisia could be the right place for the right domino to start now, because there is that third way in the Arab and Muslim world. You know, there are possibilities of Islamism or dictatorships where we could build now Tunisia, and hopefully we are in the process of building a democracy which is moderate, which is modern, which is secular, which is modernist, which is liberal in economic terms, and all that, and I'm really blessed that I'm experiencing that myself, with my students, with my family, all that thanks to the exceptionalism of Tunisia. That's why I disagree a little bit. I watch the media, they do parallels, Tunisia, Gulf countries, Bahrain, Egypt, whatever. Well, the Tunisian democracy is secular, is using Facebook, is based on Enlightenment era slogans, freedom, democracy, equality, and is conducted by women and men, young and now old, and that's really, it's an exceptional time. It's really exceptional time.
Wassim, you're talking about the situation now post-revolution, and you mentioned as a professor of American civilization, just so that people watching this know that you've spent time in the States, in Minnesota, and you also did a postdoctoral fellow 2 summers ago at NYU. What are you saying now that you could not have said before the revolution? In what way would you have had to censor yourself as a professor, censor yourself as someone having an interview right now? In what way would your students have been censored? How have things changed?
Actually, the university, the campuses were exceptional. I mean, it's true that censorship was widespread in Tunisia during the old time, the pre-revolution time. The press was not free, which is not the case now. We even abusing with our new freedom now. There was no separation of powers, etc. But the campuses, I would say, have always been like gospels of our minimum democracy. There was always a students' movement in the campuses. There was always some kind of criticism. As a teacher, I could not openly criticize like the people. I would not use the president, the name, and criticize, but I've always said that the kind of democracy, people called that democracy before we had, was fake. I always said that. But now everybody's expressing himself, not only me. I mean, everybody. Students are organizing. I see like debates going on in the country, what is the future direction to organize. So I would say that the campuses always had limited freedom. It's only now we have no limits anymore. I mean, people express themselves everywhere. There are little abuses which are normal. I mean, people exaggerate here. The people are still learning. I mean, democracy is still to be learned, to be upset. It's a whole culture that we are about to acquire, I would say. Now, it's going on slowly. It's good that we are back to normal life. I mean, we had few weeks of trouble, which is normal, which is the case in any democracy. But now our kids are back to school. Our people are back to work slowly. And I would say Tunisia is the right country to visit now, especially I know how fond Americans are of original cultures, how fond are of exotic cultures. Well, Tunisia now, in addition to what we have always had, the diversity in landscape, the diversity in cultures, and the different religious communities living together and peacefully in Tunisia. Now is the right place to invest, because this is, as I said, what that new democratic domino in the Arab Muslim world is, and I expect all my American friends to come and participate in that now. I mean, this is, Americans have got an interest to see Tunisian model succeed today. As I said, that example of an Arab and Muslim country which is really adopting a democratic way of life, a peaceful way of life, a moderate way of life, I would say more or less westernized way of life. To see that model succeed in Tunisia, start from Tunisia and move on, that's really the best our sincere Americans, I mean, would of course hope for.
You made reference to the Arab Muslim world and a comparison of Tunisia. As you probably know, there are many political pundits in the United States, maybe some we could even refer to as conspiracy theorists, who are making reference to now there's a vacuum. Now this is going to bring in elements, fifth column elements that perhaps want to change the face of Tunisia. We're now early March, and for those who aren't aware, the new Prime Minister, who has taken role here in Tunisia just as a couple of nights ago, has announced elections for July. How can you, as a Tunisian, and what is the pulse from your friends of this concern that political pundits have stressed that now there may be negative elements that will come into Tunisia, take advantage of the political vacuum? How do you see things being changed now that there is a date for election and Tunisia is embarking on the hope for what will be free democratic elections?
I mean, when people talk about the vacuum, they should use, in my opinion, the past tense, because that was during the first weeks after the revolution. People did not know what was coming in. But now, with the new government you talk about, the one that started this week, they've already set an agenda for the next elections. The constitution is being reviewed now, and we have new political parties, because as you know, we had one party dominating in Tunisia for a long time. So there is a whole process to build, to construct, but I don't see what's negative in it. I mean, to me, this is a democracy that is still flourishing, that is still, progressing step by step. And I'm personally very optimistic about it. I mean, it's good to live in a country where people are free to speak up. I'm happy for my son. I have a 9-month-old son. My son would grow up speaking his mind freely in a system which is protecting his rights, in a government, in a system which is regulated by the rule of law, in a secular country where people are choose their religion, to choose their way of life, to choose their ideology.